Call this regular school committee meeting to an order, Monday, November 7th, 2022, 6 p.m. Mr. Hughes, would you lead us in a salute to the flag, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
School committee members and student reports. School committee chair, I have nothing at this time. Resource committee.
Resource and school building needs, I'm not going to give a report tonight, but we did meet last week, and we did approve to submit and accept the grants that we will go over tonight.
And any comments, questions? Seeing none, moving on to school building needs. Mr. Stevens, once again.
Same thing.
Same thing. Thank you. Any questions, comments? Seeing none. Policy committee. Mr. Horgan.
Yes, tonight we have two policies to go through their first reading and to approve: the educational opportunities for children in foster care policy and the homeless student policy, the McKinney-Vento Homeless Education Assistance Act policy. The state made a distinction between students who are homeless and students who are in foster care, and that's what these two policies represent.
Thank you, Mr. Horgan. Questions? Comments, concerns? Seeing none. Student Support Committee. Dr. Maritza Knight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In accordance with the provisions of the open meeting law, we met on Wednesday, October the 26th. Several points were covered. Special education requirements of 15 professional developments for teachers to help them understand the process and how to meet the needs of our students. Both Ms. Alicia Berospi and Ms. Ron Demanchi guarantee that students of color in our district with IEPs and 504s have the best advocates to assist them in receiving the appropriate accommodations and modifications. Our students deserve it. We also had a wonderful PowerPoint presentation on the McKinney-Vento and the foster care program, explaining that the state separated both programs. And also they explained that there is a need to update some of the policies. We also get an update of our schools that serve our population of students with ASD. I did not get the student-to-teacher ratio or the demographics of the program, but we are looking forward to supporting all students and position them for success. I also want to share, Mr. Mayor, that I attended my first MASC, Massachusetts Joint Conference in Cape Cod, and was pleased to hear Commissioner Jeffrey Riley's speech and how he shared with us how students feel when they see one leader that is a representation of their culture. Also, it was a pleasure to hear the awesome speech of the Massachusetts 2022 Teacher of the Year, English language instructor Marta Garcia. I was also so excited to hear the speech of Chief Equity Officer of the Cambridge Public School, Manuel Fernandez, telling us that inclusion must be intentional for it to work for all. The last thing I would like to say, Mr. Mayor, is that I'm receiving messages from the community residents saying that there are some problems with mold at Longs Joe Middle School, and I would like some information about what are we doing to guarantee the safety of all our students in that building. Once again, our students deserve the best. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Dr. Knight. Any questions, concerns, or comments?
I have one.
Yes.
Dr. Knight,
Yes, sir.
if you get some calls from Lonjo on something with the buildings, would you please direct them to me with the School Building Needs Committee so that we can bring them up and get them discussed?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any questions? Further questions? Seeing none. School Personnel Committee, nothing at this time. Executive Committee, nothing as well. Student Reps, you're on.
On November 15th and 16th, students will have a chance to retake the Math MCAS if it's necessary in order to have a passing score to graduate. On November 18th, students will receive report cards with their quarter 1 grades. And on November 20th, breakfast will be served at Leominster High from 8 to 11:30 a.m. General admission is $8 and children are free. All money raised will be donated to the Fitchburg and Leominster High School bands. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the Fitchburg School Committee. This is if you haven't noticed yet, there's a lot of people in public comment. This is a particularly well-anticipated school committee meeting, and we've even pulled out some students to spread their voices, which is something that we can all be very proud of, that our student body is advocating. And that brings me to my first topic of tonight, which is that the Massachusetts Association of Student Representatives, a new organization affiliated with MASC and similar in nature to MASS, has had their student panel at the Mask-Mass Joint Conference in Hyannis this Saturday. It went swimmingly. I helped to plan it a little bit, and I think that this organization is really pulling off the ground and is really promoting student voices statewide. Additionally, in a meeting with the Student Advisory Council at FHS at Fitchburg High School, Sodexo has started to announce their program to create diverse school lunches at Fitchburg High School, and they're looking for student volunteers to help. And basically what they're going to do is they're going to go out into the community, ask students for like a 1 or 2 hour, during a 1 or 2 hour session about what kinds of lunches would better represent their culture. So we already have a quote-unquote adventure eating program that typically involves dishes that aren't the normal pizza, hamburgers, hot dogs, nachos, chicken patties. Today it was a pasta bar. Last week it was lo mein. Those sort of things have been used to promote like different kinds of eating and more adventurous eating in the school and promote student health. So we're trying to make those a little bit more representative of our community. Additionally, there are a few issues that the students of Fitchburg High School have had in the past few weeks that I would like to bring up. The first of which is somewhat of a more trivial issue. It relates to the patterns of traffic and walking at Fitchburg High School. So it was formerly the case, most of you are familiar with the layout of Fitchburg High School, but it was formerly the case that that seniors who parked in their designated parking spots near the entrance to Fitchburg High School could enter through the main entrance. Now they are forced to walk, I measured it out, 638 feet, which is a little over 1/8 of a mile, to get to the Hall of Fame entrance at the back of the school. The explanation for this change is that only one crosswalk can be open as to not gum up the parent pickup traffic, which is a very reasonable claim, and that the Hall of Fame entrance is closer to the parent pickup drop-off location. But I did do some measuring out, and I would like to state an official recommendation as a senior of Fitchburg High School that we open the art wing entrance as our one entrance because it is much closer to both the parent pickups and the seniors. This has been an object of frustration for both seniors and faculty members since the beginning of the year, since the reformatting of traffic. And many seniors are unhappy that they paid money for a parking spot and now they have to walk 1/8 of a mile in the cold, potentially risking slipping on ice, potentially risking like frostbite or hypothermia. People are not always well equipped for the weather to just get into school.
Mr. Gallo, has the school principal been made aware of this?
The school principal has been made aware of this. We had a meeting 2 Fridays ago. Since then, no change has been made.
Well, you think 3 days is ample time for a change to be made?
It was 2 weeks ago. It was Friday, October
ago?
28th.
Okay.
So 3 days, I do concur with you that 3 days is definitely not ample time, and in fact, I don't even think a week and a half is ample time. I would definitely give it. There has not been a change made, but I would give it a month and a half before. Obviously, Ms. Jarrett has quite a bit on her plate.
That's very gracious of you, Mr. Gallo. Thank you so much.
I know.
And I want to use the word more often. Let's share this swimmingly. Let's use that again.
It's a very good
As
word.
as we can. I think that was an outstanding word. Thank you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
To continue, there's an issue with, so we discussed this last year in much greater detail, the issues with the bathrooms at Fitchburg High School. Now there is a different issue. One, the second floor bathroom today was not open at all. So there was no available bathroom on the second floor. You had to go to another floor, and that means that there was only 2 bathrooms in the school open. And that is an issue with staffing. I'm well aware of that. Just students are a little bit frustrated that the lines for the bathrooms can be really long, it can be really difficult to get a spot in the bathroom. However, a much more pertinent issue, there's been a petition sent out by a fellow student of mine that has really been related to a slightly more pressing issue with the bathrooms, which is that they are closed entirely for the last 20 minutes of school. The explanation for this, which is, again, a very reasonable explanation, is that we don't want students wandering the halls in those last 20 minutes kind of leaving school, which I certainly agree with, but it is a problem for students who might have like hour-long plus bus rides, unable to use the bathroom, for female students who might not be able to tend to their needs in the bathroom for those last 20 minutes, and for like gastric emergency, something like you have to vomit, for instance. It's somewhat taboo, but people are genuinely frustrated about the bathrooms being closed at the last 20 minutes of school.
Frank, excuse me. That may be something that superintendent needs to look at. They may not actually be able to do that. That might fall under Board of Health. I don't know if you can actually close bathrooms. For,
we'll investigate that.
yes.
We'll follow up.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
That needs to be taken care of.
So the third and perhaps most pertinent thing, and this is, I think, the thing that's drawing the public comment today, has to do with banned books. And I've already spoken for far longer than any student rep ought to speak. However, I do want to state that I strongly oppose the banning of any books at the high school level. I think students should be able to experience all sorts of different kinds of literature, including literature that deals with highly provocative topics. Potentially not gross sexuality or violence, but even in situations where certain aspects are touched on, like racial issues, like issues like with the LGBTQ community, I think students should definitely be able to experience that at the high school level. And I think it's quite ridiculous to be banning books and restricting what people in 16 or 17 years old who have access to the full weight of the internet can read and can experience in their school libraries. And that is all for my public comment. Any questions?
Thank you. Questions?
One question.
Yes.
Have
Mr.
any
Wall.
books been banned so far at the library? at the high school?
No books have been banned so far, which is a good thing.
Yep, okay.
Nothing has come to the school committee on banning of books.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. Yeah, we're dealing with that right now.
Are you?
Yeah, there's a group that's interested in having a certain selection banned, looking to
But
discuss
nothing
that.
has- It might have come to one of the committees.
It's coming to the policy committee, we're dealing with
Nothing
it.
has come to
Not to the general committee yet.
The full,
No,
the full committee?
committee, no.
No.
no, but that's certainly come to our attention.
All right. Moving on.
Thank you very much, Mr. Horgan.
Any questions, further questions for the student reps?
Just one. You may speak as long as you would like.
Yes,
No time
that's right.
limit.
I don't know where
Both
you're
of you.
getting that.
I know the man. I think that.
I oppose that.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to address it.
Keep it to a minimum, beyond the 5 minutes.
Okay.
I just want to make a comment that when you and your confreres and anybody that you speak with deal with the bathroom issue, you have to have the complete picture of it's difficult. The bathroom, it's not like everything's fine with the bathrooms and everybody should be able to go whenever they want to. It's a place where people can congregate and trouble can start. I mean, that has to be considered. And I think that the students' viewpoint on that could be very welcome and actually needed to be realistic about what we're dealing with there.
Further questions? Seeing none, moving on. Approval of the minutes from the previous school committee meeting,
Make a motion to approve the
October 17, 2022. Motion made?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the regular school committee meeting minutes of October 17, 2022. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It is unanimous. Communications. Anyone wishing to?
Just to get.
Go ahead, Peter.
Geez, I'm chatty tonight, unusual.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would just like to congratulate Frank Gallo. Frank represented Fitchburg. I was very proud of him serving on the board of directors of students at the MASC conference this week, and it was nice. I went in Saturday morning, and Frank was sitting up front with 3 other student reps and a number of students, and I was very proud. A member of Fitchburg High School was representing us in the state of Massachusetts. I would also, yes.
Thank you, Chairman Stevens.
I would also like to thank the mayor and the superintendent for attending the 11th induction of the Hall of Fame at Fitchburg High School at Great Wolf Lodge yesterday afternoon. Thank you for being there and supporting our.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Any further questions, comments? Public comment section of the agenda. Let me just inform the public, the people participating here tonight. Public comment is a 5-minute opportunity for any individual to comment on whatever they think is appropriate. We didn't change that, though, did we? I'm told that we didn't change it.
Correct.
Did we?
You're correct, Mr. Mayor.
We did,
Correct.
right?
We
Yeah.
didn't change
There was an effort to make it 3 minutes. 5 minutes is a long time. It is. A long time to comment. Just ask Mr. Gallo, he can tell you. I mean, it is short, see? So, but again, 5 minutes to make your comment. It is not an opportunity for give and take. There's not going to be a debate about it. This is as is recommended by the Mass Association of School Committees. What I will do is reach out to the Mass Association of School Committees. They have legal counsel, get a formal ruling on that, and share it with the viewing public, also the people that are here this evening, to give it more clarification. But the fact that you can make public comments certainly is available to you. So anyone wishing to make public comment, please step up to the podium, your name and address.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
at the last meeting,
Yeah.
we accommodated those people who were reluctant to give their address
Yeah.
for some reason. So if their name or they can certainly pass the name into the secretary or something. The address, if you don't
I'm
mind.
simply, yeah, if you want to,
Hey, Fitchburg.
you don't want to give me your address, you can write it on a piece of paper just so we know where to find you.
No, I should be fine with that. Not wide.
I was joking.
I know. Hello, I am Josh Govin. My address is 31 Ash Street. I'm here today because I was notified by one of our student reps, Frank Gallo, that there were some pressing issues about our school that we had been trying to look into for a while now. And I think with me and Frank here, each of us being the class presidents of our respective classes, Frank's the senior and me the junior class president, you have a pretty representative view for the upperclassmen, despite there not being too many students here today. I just wanted to mainly comment on some of the stuff regarding the bathrooms and the parking. One of which seemed to be that the amount of time hasn't been ample for, or that we are, or that Frank may have been acting a little hastily when bringing this to this committee. The decision to change where the parking, or to change the entrances to the schools was made very quickly. There seemed to be, I don't know how long we were in school, but it was maybe not even a month before that decision was made. Do you know if that's correct, Frank?
It was mid-October.
In October, so
just about.
okay, so yeah, about a month. It's now into November, and this decision has been opposed by the entire student body that can drive. Since the beginning, there was a petition made by one of our other fellow students, which to no avail, as most of our petitions do. Our petitions usually are unneglected. And all the issues that Frank brought up are definitely true. And not even to mention, on top of the eighth of a mile you have to walk to the building, the Hall of Fame entrance is nowhere near any of your classes. You still have to walk through the lobby and to the actual academic part of the school, which all in all, that's about a 6-minute walk, which might seem a bit trivial, but for students who want to get out of class on time and they're running a little bit late, they now have that extra step in front of them that would take way less time to get to their class. And also on the issue of the bathrooms, one of the biggest issues is that no bathrooms are open after school as well. This was not the case in my freshman year of high school when we came back from our virtual learning, and the bathrooms were completely open. They were open after school. The reason for this stated change was the issue of vaping in bathrooms, an issue which is not resolved and is just a Band-Aid solution to a much wider problem that cannot be stopped by having a teacher sit outside of a bathroom and only open 1 or 2 at a time. Many of our students, especially since we have begun to advertise many of the after-school clubs and sports to more students, many of these students are staying after school for longer, and we have a greater number of them, none of which have access to a bathroom. This is insane to have a building with potentially hundreds of people in it after school and only having teacher bathrooms open. But yeah, I think that is all I have to say for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there, I have a question, I guess, for you and for Mr. Gallo. Is there a student government at Fitchburg High School?
In terms of?
Do you have a president, vice president, secretary?
We have for each class, yes.
Class officers?
Yes, yeah.
Is this the kind of thing that you would bring to their attention?
This is the kind of thing that we bring to the attention of the Student Advisory Council, typically.
Have you done so?
Yes. The bathroom issue is largely an issue that has arisen within the past 2 weeks. More recently,
bathrooms?
Well, the bathroom issue has been continuous since the beginning of the year, and it has been brought up at the last Student Advisory Council meeting, but it did not fit into the agenda of our time factor, and we didn't get to it. And it's particularly heated up again in the last 2 weeks.
I would like to add that that they had started monitoring and closing bathrooms when they didn't have enough staff as of last year.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Questions? No, we have no questions, no. Anyone else wishing to make public comment? You know, I've been remiss in not recognizing Ms. Jeannie LaBelle Pierce, a long-standing, how many years, 20, 25 years on the school committee? I'm kidding. It's great to see you, Jean. Welcome back. Yeah, you're welcome. Moving forward, superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Superintendent.
Chair. So first of all, I'd like to welcome Carrie Favale up to the the table up front here to really just reintroduce Carrie to you, the school committee members. Carrie was with us during, I guess I'll call it peak COVID year 2021. When we were able actually, while Carrie was here, to reach agreement with the FEA on the teacher's contract before the contract actually expired by way of interest-based bargaining. So Carrie spent a little time in Lynn, and now she's back. So you want to fill in any blanks I missed there, Carrie? Or?
No, I'm happy to be back. It's the beginning of my third week. I'm still standing, and there's a lot of work to do, but I am very happy and grateful to be back. It's a good community, and it's been overwhelmingly welcoming again. So I will love to speak with our student reps at some point when we get into the recruitment season and all of those things. But there's a lot on my plate right now, so I'm keeping my priorities straight and coming to work every day.
Welcome back.
Well, welcome back, and
Thank you.
it's good that you saw the error of your ways.
I did, thank you. I absolutely saw the error of my ways. I will,
That's right. Thank you.
okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Okay. Tonight is the first of 2 nights of presentations of school improvement plans. Before the weekend, I had emailed out the full presentation that goes into a lot of district-level data for all the elementary schools. For the sake of time, unless there are any questions beforehand, I'd just like to go over or have each of the school's principals present on each of their school improvement plans and their goals. But before we do that, I don't know if any school committee members have any questions of any of the prelude data. Doesn't. Go ahead. Oh.
I just had one question that if you could clarify it for me. I noticed as I read through them that the mission statement for each school is the same. So is that citywide? You worked on
School
it together?
department, yes.
Okay.
Okay. No further questions. We'll actually start off with the pre-kindergarten kindergarten center tonight with Monica Poitras, who also has returned to Fitchburg. So, Monica, I don't know if you
saw my evil ways and came back, right?
stand at the podium or have a seat. Your call.
Oh, this is fine. I'm fine with this. First of all, I'd like to say that we are still the happiest place on earth. It is a great place to work. We've been enjoying to get to know our students and our families and getting to know my staff and each other. One of our strengths I feel that we really built on was the staff coming together as a whole staff. It's the first time the preschool has been together in a long time. Some of you may know or not know, but sometimes preschool was the only preschool class in a building and had nobody to collaborate with. So at this point, we're collaborating together and making some changes, I think, that are positive. So we're brand new, so we had to do all kinds of established routines from arrival to dismissal, our behavior expectations, scheduling, lunch schedules, PLCs and all of that, and we have accomplished a lot, but we still have a lot of work to do. Being a new school, our school improvement is still a draft form and is a working document. So as we have come into the year, we realize that there are more resources that are more procedures and protocols that we need to put into place. But what we have done is we have started, we have school-wide behavior expectations all in place. We have started to have some targeted tiered instruction. We started our Title I instruction. We're starting to look at our social-emotional tiered instruction as well. I just met with a group of parents that are interested in being our PTO and school site council. We have our next meeting Wednesday to talk about roles and such like that. So I feel really positive about that. And what's really exciting is that several of them are preschool parents, so I'll have them for hopefully 3 years, which makes a big difference. And like I said, we started our school improvement plan. We have established our instructional leadership team. We have had 3 meetings with our instructional leadership team. Our data, as you know, there's kindergarten data, And our data shows that we have a lot of students that have not come to preschool, so this is their very first school experience. So one of the areas of growth that I actually have not completely put up there because it was something we just started to talk about is the social emotional needs of our little ones. I think we underestimated the needs that students coming have never been in a school setting, and what they require for us so that they can be successful in school. What else have we done? Oh, we're continuing to develop all these, but we do have a lack of some key positions at our school that have been very hard to fill. And I don't think it has anything to do with anything in particular. I think all districts are in the same. We didn't have a pathways teacher for our kindergarten, so we had to come up with a solution, and we combined our preschool and kindergarten pathways for right now. But actually on Friday, we interviewed a pathways teacher, so I'm hoping she's going to accept the position. We do not have an ETL at this point, and there wasn't one assigned to our school, but I have talked with Roanne DeBanch, and we are looking to have at least a part-time one for now. We are still short a moderate needs special education teacher and a few paraprofessionals and a clinical interventionist, which is very key to our social emotional support for our students. On Friday, we were able to meet with Alicia, and she did interview 4 paraprofessionals. I think we offered positions to 3 of them. And we also just contracted with Rob Shapiro's company for some RBTs in our building to fill some of those slots. So I feel we're getting there, but it's going to take a year to develop our program. There's some things we'd like to look into as an early childhood program, such as OT and PT being embedded into our program for our students, because a lot of our students are coming, with no experience holding pencils or coloring or crayons, and we're seeing that a lot of students need a lot more exposure to be able to how to grip a pencil better, to do handwriting, to do some sensory things. So that's where we are right now. I think I kind of went over some of this already. So we want to make sure that curriculum is accessible to all our students. We want to make sure that we are able to provide intervention groups and not just for academics, for social emotional support as well, which can be very challenging. We want to make sure that we have a tiered system of supports, and that we're using our data. So some of the teachers' professional goals for this year are to look at their strategies for social emotional lessons in their classroom and to track their data to make sure that those strategies are having a positive outcome for our students. Our staff development, we've been participating in Footsteps to Brilliance and Foundations, and the district offerings in ELA and math. We do hope that at some point that we might have a little bit more time for professional development around some other areas, such as social emotional development. What else? We are working on effective use of all resources, so we want to make sure that we're using all the resources that are available to us in the kindergarten and preschool, from our OTs and PTs to speech, sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. We're hoping to make sure that when parents come to our school that they are feeling very welcomed and that we are meeting all their needs. So, for example, we will meet with parents about student concerns, but sometimes we notice that the parent may need some support, so we want to make sure that we're offering support not just to our students, but to all of our families, wherever that might be. We're fortunate enough to have My office staff is bilingual, which is a huge help to all of us. And I have two guidance counselors that are excellent with our parents and our families. We want to make sure that there's always a two-way communication with all of us. So in October, I started sending a newsletter to parents just about general news that's going on in the school. There'll be a monthly newsletter, and the teachers are making sure that they're communicating that. Our data. This is our data. With DIBELS, we test letter naming fluency and phonemic segmentation. And this is what we kind of expect for the data. And we compared it to last year. It was very similar to the data that was last year. Because you have to realize a lot of our students, they haven't received the instruction. So we feel there's tons of room for growth. And we already see it. I mean, it's amazing how quickly our students are growing academically and social emotionally. I remember at the beginning of the year, there's a big concern about the building, being so big, but kids navigate it perfectly. They walk to their classrooms by themselves. Math, so this is looking at just the number of relationships. This is what we expected. Again, they haven't been exposed to curriculum or instruction yet, so this is where we are. Our PD is very focused on how do we differentiate during our PLCs, and we're trying to conduct classroom learning walks at least twice a month and give the teachers feedback via email, or sometimes it might be in person. So that's where we are. Any questions? Sure.
I had one before. On your core values, and it's the same in all the schools.
Yeah.
Can you describe vulnerable? The core values are growth focused.
So vulnerable is that how we look at it is that you're able to take a risk and ask questions. Sometimes when you're in an organization, even as myself as the principal, I don't have all the answers, and I'm very honest about it. If I don't have the answer, then we find the answer together, or I find a resource that has that. So we just want to make sure that staff, that I have created an environment where staff feels comfortable asking that, or students feel comfortable asking those kinds of questions.
So that refers to everybody, students, teachers?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
Myself.
I do have a question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Dr. Knight?
Are you using the method of calibration for teachers' feedback yet?
So calibration for the teacher feedback for what?
For evaluations and teachers' feedback?
So I meet with the staff on their goals. Is that so? I meet with each team, or the teams I'm evaluating. We decided on school-wide student learning goals that we want each student to be able to reach a certain level. For preschool, we focus on the 4-year-olds coming up to kindergarten and what their kindergarten readiness skills are going to be. The teachers are focusing on that. Do you mean with the walkthroughs with the feedback? Do we collaborate with?
Yes.
So I'm going to be honest. So right now, I've just been doing walkthroughs and giving feedback and working with my administrative team. I have a new administrative team, and one of them, this is their first position as an administrator. So I feel that before we can all give feedback, I need to make sure that we're all on the same page, and we have the same lens that we're looking through, whatever that focus may be.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is that it? Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go in alphabetical order, and next up is Casey Bolak, principal of Crocker Elementary.
Sit down. I do a lot of hand talking, and I'm hoping this will help control my hands. Hi, everybody. I'm Casey Bolak. This is my 11th year here in Fitchburg, 10th year at Crocker, 5 years assistant principal, my 5th year as principal already. It's been an eventful time. Having a great time at Crocker. Looking forward to that new school. If you haven't been to those meetings, those are fun. So please please join us. So some good news, and some of the things that I feel are strengths at Crocker. Our writing scores, although there's still a lot of room for growth, we still, in grades 3 and 4 last year on MCAS, were above the state average. We had achievement levels in both ELA and math at the exact same number at 492. It's good, and I'm very proud of that. Our teachers and our kids are amazing, and they've worked really hard. But our 2019 levels, as you can see on that opportunity for growth, MCAS scores are still below 2019. Our scores were above 500, and so those are our goals there, is to return to that, because we know our kids can do that and can achieve there. So we did have a good increase in our meeting and exceeding percentages in math, from 28% up to 39%. A strength at Crocker is using assessments, both formative and summative, and that data to inform our groupings, not just like our Tier 2 instructional groupings, but our Tier 1 instructional groupings and small groups. Our co-teaching is a big thing for us at Crocker and across the district, and our teams are getting some actual feedback and professional development on co-teaching. Becky Mackey has been great and coming in and helping our teachers meet and co-plan and giving common feedback across the district, and working with some outside consultants on that as well. Monica said the same sort of thing. We're using data not just academically, but social and emotionally as well. And we need to keep doing that to find the needs of our students and to case manage each student individually and to help them get through whatever they need to. And I am blessed with a strong leadership team, including our ILT, and we do our best to effectively communicate to all our stakeholders. Now, there's always room for growth, and I highlighted a few. Our ESL cohort achievement dropped some in ELA and our ELA, not a lot, but it was over 1.5 achievement points, and so not okay, but we're going to keep working on that. All right. We need to increase our proficiency rate, not just in math, but for ELA and across all levels. The redistricting and the addition of the 5th grade, we're going to say that is an opportunity for growth. We have, at Crocker, we have over 200 new students that are new to Crocker, including a lot of our 5th graders. And so that is an opportunity for growth. Somebody on our instructional leadership team coined the term Crockerize. And so we're going to do our best to Crockerize these new students here and get them up to speed and as quickly as possible. We are having issues with attendance still. Attendance is a major concern across the board. And it's something that we're taking data on, and part of our goals and our strategic focus will be on that later on. We have some social and emotional data, and the data that we took already this fall is showing 12% of our kids are already in the need category right now. And so that a lot of those we already had identified, and that goes back to some of that case managing that we do as a strength of ours, but some are new to us. And so to help identify them and to get with those families and help these kids and try to figure out what they need in order to be ready to learn is what we're going to do. And our students with disability and our ESL cohorts are still below their counterparts and their peer groups, and it's something that we're working towards and we focus on every day. So on the left is the district strategic objectives and the commitments that we've made as a district, and then this is on the right is what Crocker's going to try to do to help along with that. And so, we're talking about our new math curriculum, and it's a major focus for us. It's Eureka Squared. We have used the Eureka program for a few years now, and we're familiar with it, but this is the newest and kind of upgraded, the latest and greatest, but it is new. And so figuring out how to implement this in a way that's going to work best for our kids is something that we're focused on. We are also implementing a new social and emotional learning curriculum called the Positivity Project. We call it P2. It is a daily kind of morning, fits into our morning meeting where we have, and we talk about 24 character traits, and we involve it with our whole school morning meetings. Once a month, we have a grade level present on one of those character traits, and it's an amazing thing. I will do my best to invite you if you can come to one of those. It's fun to watch our students perform. A sense of belonging is something you'll hear probably all of us talk about for our staff as well as our families and the students. It's something that we are, really keen to improve. We've spent the last few years telling everybody that they don't belong at school and we can't have them in there. And so we need to concentrate on getting everybody back. And so, we're going to increase our staff belonging, have some more staff events, and then if we go down, increase the family's sense of belonging as well through some surveys and community events. We're going to continue to build and create some new community partnerships that we think can benefit all of us, our staff, students, and families. Specifically with FHS, I had a meeting last week where we can get some mentors into our buildings and talk with some of our maybe new fifth graders and help them Crockerize as well. I didn't do that. That was I'm not good to look at, so I'm sorry. So, the last thing is our goals, is I think the last slide, and then our strategies, and this is just some of the strategies that I wanted to highlight for you guys. We're working on a school-wide instructional focus. We understand that we need to have a shining light and kind of like a North Star, and so we're working on that as our instructional leadership team meets, and we're going to work to guide that with professional development. And one of our main goals is to really work on student ownership of data. What does that look like? What does that look like for teachers? What does that look like for students? And how do we accomplish that? And how do students really own their own learning and their own data to start building some of that intrinsic motivation? We're going to do a lot of walkthroughs. Have been, and talking with administrators and my administrative team on what they saw and trying to collaborate that way too. Again, the Positivity Project across all grade levels. This is the attendance piece where we're starting to hold like every other week meetings with families that we have attendance concerns with, and bringing them in and asking how we can help. Not just, and then if we need to, we'll go and meet them at their house if they don't want to come to school, and that's fine with us. There are things that need to know why kids aren't coming to school, and we want to work together, and so it's a big focus for us. And then our focus groups are our professional learning committee or communities. We hold them weekly, every Thursday, and our instructional leadership team really drives those agendas. What do we need? What are we seeing through walkthroughs? What is the third grade team looking at, fourth grade team? And what do we need more focus on, and how can we help that? And so those are some of our key strategies that we're going to do to keep moving Crocker forward and with our kids.
Oh, okay. I was really surprised when you said that you have over 200 new students, so you get 630 students.
Correct.
200 of them are brand new to
Crocker, yes.
Whoa.
Yep.
Is that an unusually high?
I mean, it is for us, right? We're not used to that. We're used to bringing in 100 or so kindergarten students, and then a few at each grade level. So with the redistricting and some lines being redrawn, we had
made it quite a difference.
We've had some new kids, but getting them.
And then I was also kind of jolted when I read that a high rate of chronic absenteeism
Yeah.
in such young children, grade 1 to 5.
Yes.
And if you project that to the high school,
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, and you're right. It's something that when we had kindergarten and now with first grade, we start right from the beginning, and the importance of attendance, and we send home flyers. We have meetings. We do what we can, but unfortunately it starts early sometimes.
But the emphasis that I see all the schools have on attempting to have a community feeling with events.
Yes.
I hope it goes well. Yeah.
Same, yeah. Like I said, we've spent some time telling people they can't come into schools. We're going to work hard to get them back in.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Talk tonight.
Principal Casey
Yes.
Bullock, I don't want to
Olak, you did all right. That's not bad.
butcher your last name, please
Yep.
forgive me. Yes, it was wonderful to hear both principals talk about how you're involved in the community and what you're doing, and and the professional development that you're putting together for your teachers to be well prepared to be able to meet the needs of our students and accommodate their various learning styles. I believe that's very important. I just have a question for you, and please don't take any offense with it. Have you done anything to try to integrate the DESI calibration method into your teachers' evaluation and feedback yet?
No, the DESI calibration, no. I think our feedback, we just started really doing a lot of, as Monica said, we had our goals, and the goals were due, and the educator plans were due at the end of October. So we just finished up with a lot of those meetings. And we just really started going into formal evaluations like this week and into next week. And so, we have admin meetings where we talk about what we're seeing with walkthroughs and to try to calibrate that way. But we haven't utilized the DESI tool this year.
Do you have all your teachers?
No.
that you need? No?
No, so if you know an ESL teacher, a special ed teacher, or a pathways teacher, Crocker's a great place to work. The principal's not that bad.
Hopefully you find them very quickly.
Yes,
Thank you.
Mr. Hughes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bolak, for, particularly for me, putting emphasis on attendance. Because if they're not in front of you, that's I feel like 75% of the battle. They're in front of you. If they're in front of the teachers, then that time on learning can really begin to make a difference. So I appreciate the fact that the district is putting some emphasis on parent relationships, try to improve attendance in our district. And I know it's a battle, it forever will be, but at least I want us to make sure the community knows that we're committed to doing all that we can to help them.
Absolutely.
Make sure these kids get to school and make sure they can get the best opportunities they can get. Meanwhile, have you seen any impact, noticed any impact from your parental involvement around attendance?
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet. Okay.
Unfortunately. We're going to keep doing some, we're like I said, we might be changing some of our meetings. Maybe we might be going to some houses instead and having meetings out there. We got really good with home visits over the last few years as well, with COVID. And so a lot of our staff are really comfortable, myself included, going out and being in the community and meeting our families where they want to meet. And so we can have those conversations that are real and talk about school and getting our kids there. So like you said, it's super important for them to be there, but if they're not there, there's a reason.
Right.
And so let's figure it out together, and that's really what we want to do.
I really appreciate your transparency when you said not yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not trying to tell the public what we really want to hear. We don't want to hear that word. But I also noticed that in your MCAS numbers too, when you put it up, you said we're not at pre-pandemic levels yet.
Right.
So I like that transparency, just being open and honest. We have work to do.
Yeah.
And it's going to take all of us together to make sure it happens.
Absolutely, but I mean, and I think the next part of that is that we can do it.
Right.
We've been there. These expectations aren't out of reach, and so we can get there.
Thank you, Mr. Bowler.
You're welcome.
quick question? And I guess this would be the question for the other two principals representing McKay and Reingold. How have the students adjusted where, in some cases, now I'm in fourth grade, but so-and-so's not here, and you have new kids coming in? How has that all worked with not only students, but also teachers? There are teachers now in different locations. Has that gone well, smoothly?
I was going to say swimmingly. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
That's what we all wanted to hear.
I appreciate it. Some days are better than others.
Okay.
I think all the staff that's been able to be at Crocker has been fantastic. We've had some great additions. Happy to have each and every one of them. And the kids have been great, too. There's been we did this at South Street, or we did this at Reingold, we did this at McKay. And we're doing this at Crocker. And there's some getting used to. There's a lot of kids from South Street that think I'm the gym teacher. Well, my brother's been the gym teacher at South Street for over 25 years, and so they always say that he's the better Bolak, and I can't argue with them. I mean, he's the phys ed teacher. So, but the kids are adjusting, and they're adjusting well. I think of the fifth graders that have been in maybe the same school since preschool and making those changes, and so we've kind of gone above and beyond with them, trying to build relationships with them, let them know that they're welcome here, that they're now Crocker Cubs, and we're going to take care of you, and we wish we had you for more than a year, but we do a lot of that work every day. But the kids are getting along, the kids are moving forward, they're here, so that's it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
How's that?
Actually, can I just-
Thanks, Ed.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess, Mr. Polak, before you leave,
Sir.
Just to really share with all members of the committee, and there was some conversation by Mr. Hughes and others about the attendance and the absenteeism issue for not only schools in Fitchburg, but statewide and nationally have not come back to pre-pandemic levels, despite, I think, a lot of creativity that all our teams are exhibiting right now. And the level of parent engagement. And again, Crocker is a school that's no stranger to adversity.
True.
And is, I don't know if say you're the MacGyver of,
tape,
schools here, right?
Foil, whatever's needed.
In terms of solving problems and trying to find creative ways to solve problems and having a long-term team in place. You've mentioned how long you were there, but you've also had members of your team there for probably the last 5 years. I can't remember exactly. So it's something that the attendance issue is a real systemic challenge that's not just at Crocker, but a lot of our schools and schools across the state and country still. So, and just lastly, do you want to put in a plug for your community event tomorrow?
Project Peace. Debbie Jeffries is in her 35th year of Project Peace, which is political education at Crocker Elementary. We are going to have a great event. In the morning, we'll have an all-school assembly. Our delegates will sign our Constitution for our school-wide rules, and we'll have some guest speakers. You guys are all welcome if you can make it. And be at 9:30 start. And then we, throughout the day, have our students vote on some of our local and statewide races, and with actual voting booths. And they go through and they check in, and they vote, and they check out. It's a fantastic event. It's a great civics lesson for our kids. And so, I can't thank Debbie Jeffries enough. I mean, it's been 35 years, and it's awesome. The kids love it, and the staff love it.
It's good to have them start early to learn the importance of voting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They're actually they're very good at predicting, too. Although the last one, they voted me out, and I found them screwed up.
They're about 90% clipped right now. 90%.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Polak.
Thank you, Casey.
Okay, continuing in alphabetical order, we have McKay Elementary School presenting now. So with us is Principal Sue Tingus. So welcome, Sue. This is alternating podium, table, podium, right?
Yeah, I prefer to stand. That way I can have a quick exit if I need to. I'm not sitting, I can just run. Okay, sorry.
Left behind as well, I'm just saying.
Oh,
You're supposed to memorize your slides, Sue.
I did not, sorry. But while that's coming up, so this is my first full year at McKay Elementary as the principal. Last year, I was principal at South Street Elementary, and before that, for 5 years, I was assistant principal at South Street Elementary. So I have been in the district. This is the start of my 7th year. And my slides are up. And they're gone again. So at McKay, we're kind of really starting over, kind of what Casey had mentioned with the redistricting. We have a lot of new students, a lot of new staff. Most of South Street Elementary staff made the change over to McKay Elementary, so they had their 3 teachers. We brought 4 teachers over, and then we have new teachers, like brand new teachers, first-year teachers. So we have 7 classes of each grade, so it's a rather large school. There's about 735 students there right now. So some of the strengths that we're building on, we looked at the SchoolWorks plan that McKay had in place last year, because we took on their designation. So we looked at what the strengths that the school had, and they had shared leadership, responsibility, collaboration. We have defined expectations for high quality practices and teaching. We're using data to identify student-specific needs and their non-academic needs, which are the social-emotional needs. We have a school student support meeting that meets every Monday, which is all of our guidance counselors and clinical interventionists and behavior specialists, along with our 4 admin. I was able to retain 2 assistant principals and an SBSA, which was great. Thank you very much. It has come in handy because we have a very large faculty as well. So then some of our opportunities for growth, we have lots of room for growth, and we're working really hard on bringing up all of the scores that we need to bring up. As you can see, our accountability has us at the bottom 5% of the state. That will change next year. I promise you I will be here with a different number. I have a number in mind. It might not be that number, but I will be here with a higher number than that. That's my commitment, and my admin team and my faculty staff, that's their commitment to these students as well. Attendance is remarkably pretty decent right now at McKay. Kids are showing up, all 735 of them, just about every day. So that's good. And the ones that aren't showing up, we do have every week, every Friday, I have 1 guidance counselor and 1 administrator that hold parent meetings, whether they're virtual, in person, out to the homes, whatever the parents need. So we have that going on every week. We're increasing our family engagement. We want to increase those partnerships. So starting in June, each grade level is taking a month, so between June and May, and we're having a grade level party. One of them is going to be like a spaghetti dinner where parents are just going to be invited in. That's a 4th grade level. They want to, and the 4th grade teachers, they're going to serve the parents. We'll have some Frank Sinatra or something in the background. You're more than welcome, Mr. Mayor, to come. I saw that got your
Good stuff.
So we're going to try to do something fun and engaging each month with each grade level, and the staff has really bought into this. There's bingo another night. There's a whole bunch of great things that we have planned. We want parents to know to come in and that this is a fun place to be. We want to build those relationships. And some of our school improvement plans, we're looking at 100% of our students will show at least 1 year's worth of growth in number sense. And the MCAS proficiency rate, we were at 5%. Our plan is to be at 10%, but our real plan is to be at 20%. So hopefully the staff and myself, we can make that 20% happen, but we're shooting for 10, hoping for 20, if that makes sense. So we're really just looking for all that growth. This year, our EL students, they're on our school improvement plan because of the gaps. So we decided to put them on our school improvement plan. So we want 100% of our students to show 1 year worth of growth on the iReady assessment. And by the end of the year, we hope that 80% will reach their target goal on the access test, which goes along with like the MCAS, but it's actually harder for these kids. So 80% is a really hefty goal, but I think we're going to make it. I'm hoping we're going to make it. Elementary, I don't understand.
Decides to go on and off, sorry.
Oh, okay. So we as an admin team decided to like audit ourselves. So we're on our school improvement plan as well. We want to make sure that as an administrative team, we're doing everything we can for the staff and for the students to make sure that we're giving them the right resources, we're giving them our amount of time, we're providing all the materials that students need to be successful. So we thought it was a good idea and be transparent with our staff, since it is such a combined staff and we have a lot of work to do, that we're transparent and we're saying that we know what we need to do, and we're asking staff, students, and parents to hold us accountable as an administrative team. The McKay Elementary School, we're building the system that we're all means all and that we all belong. That goes along with those monthly parties that we'll be having, those monthly grade level family engagement meetings. And then the last thing we're doing is we're trying to get back to the roots of McKay Elementary School, and we're refocusing that partnership with the college. I've had a couple of meetings with Dr. Murray over there, the Dean of Education. So we're really kind of trying to build that. We have a lot more students coming in from the college, helping out. We had our open house night. We had student teachers from all over the place that are with the college, but they came and they helped hand out pamphlets and helped show people around. So we're really trying to build that again and build the capacity of that. And then the last thing that we're doing is also partnering with Fitchburg High School, the 18 to 22-year-old program. Two of those sections of that program sit in McKay Elementary building. So they look for places for their students to go for like a job corps type of thing. So we have two of those students joining our first grade, two different first grade classrooms as kind of like buddy mentors to show our students, you know, that they're like mentors. So they're coming down, they're reading stories and helping kids out at the first grade level. So we're kind of proud of those two new partnerships. Our school improvement, our school-wide in focus is to have explicit instruction that scaffolds the content and language development. The key word there is explicit. We're really pushing that everything we do should have a purpose and have a meaning, whether it's a quick little morning meeting or if it's the middle of the meat of your math lesson. Everything should be explicit, well thought out, well planned by our teachers. And we're supporting them by having PLCs around all that. We had Deb Hooper that came in to talk to our co-teaching teams, which is basically our whole school is co-teaching. That's where you would have two gen ed teachers and either an ESL teacher, or a special ed teacher. And they have extra planning time together to explicitly develop lessons for the students that are in front of them. The monthly engagement, the weekly attendance, kind of things that I already went over. Thank you for your time. Any questions? Yes.
I just want to ask a question, given how the night started out. Do you, and this applies to everybody who has spoken and whoever will speak, do you have any problems around the bathrooms? Are the bathrooms open till the end of the day?
They are open. They are open. We don't have very many bathrooms at McKay Elementary. I don't know why the school was designed the way it was. We have one on each level, but they are open. We do try to walk by them frequently. There are some issues in the older kids area.
It's just wondering, the younger period, the younger children have less problems, so at some point in developmental growth or these...
The 4th and 5th grade bathroom, there's a little bit of issues, but we're addressing it, we're handling it, and kids are taking ownership of what they do in there.
So, you have a school council members. You do not have any parents or community reps on your school council members, as members.
Mr. Stevens, she does have some. I actually have the updated list in my office.
Okay, all right.
She gave it to me right before this meeting, and I did not bring it with me. My apologies.
Yes.
She does. Yeah.
Sorry that I was late with it.
If I go back that 1993 education law, and I'm always...
I will
looking-
have that to you with all the signatures.
Okay, thank you.
Principal Sue, same thing. Nice to hear all the work that you're doing, to try to better meet the needs of our students. The students in Fitchburg, once I'm here, they deserve the best. Same question. Have you begun using the DESE calibration method to evaluate teachers and to provide the feedback that is so important for them, to better be prepared, to help our students meet their needs?
No, we're not using the DESE method right now. What we're doing is, like I said, there are 4 administrators. When we do a walkthrough, after each room, we get together, we discuss things. We sit down and we give feedback together, just so that we're all on the same page, so we're kind of
beginning to use it.
We're doing it with ourselves, but
Good, that's good.
yeah, we're making sure that we're all on the same page, and if we're providing some feedback that we're unsure of, we reach out to either district, the directors, our own coaches. So we want to make sure that we give meaningful feedback that teachers can actually use immediately in their classroom. And we give feedback usually within 2-3 hours, we're giving feedback to them.
One of the things that I am trying to get everyone to buy into, I know there's some buying to it already. I'm not sure what percentage of teachers of color you have at the school. You don't have to feel penalized to answer it now, but we know that we have a large percentage of students of color in the entire district. Let's see, are you making any effort or putting intention into trying to hire teachers of color to be able to have a better representation of the student body?
Yeah, I'm not really good at math. I'm more of an ELA person. We do probably have about 6 or 7 teachers of color at McKay Elementary. Like I said, I'm not good at math, so I don't know the percentage. But yes, we would definitely, when the candidates come out, we try to hire the best candidate possible. And the people that are coming, they are who they are. I would love to see a more diverse group of people come out for interviews. Unfortunately, they're not coming out, and I don't know why.
I'm not that interested in talking so much about diversity because, not because you have someone that looks different, that's not solving the problem. The thing is, hiring them with intention, that inclusion with intention so that it can really work. But thank you so much. I don't want to ask too much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Keep up the good work. Our students deserve.
I absolutely agree with you. Absolutely agree.
Mr. Thompson, you had a question?
Dr. Knight, I'm just curious, you've mentioned the DESE calibration method a few times. Do you mean the optic calibration tool? Is that what you're referring to?
The one for evaluation where the more than one administrator going into the classroom to observe the teacher and then sit down and agree upon the feedback that they're going to provide to have a more accurate feedback to provide to the teacher that would assist the teacher in becoming, in improving their methods and techniques of teaching. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay,
And our last elementary school to present, have Anna Hill, Assistant Principal of Rheingold, here tonight. So, welcome.
Yes, hello, welcome. Thank you for having us. I'm here to represent Rheingold. I'm actually the assistant principal there, speaking for Mr. Sparks, who couldn't be here tonight but does send his regards. I know my strengths, and reading small text from a distance is not one of them, so I'm going to go old school and stick with the cards. So if we do blink in and out, I should be okay to keep going. So thank you for all of your support and collaboration this year, and we appreciate this opportunity to share some highlights from Rheingold. So for our strengths to build on, we've had some improvement in our accountability status from DESE. We've gone from 26% rating in 2019 to a 43% most recently, so that was quite a feat, much improved. We're on year 3 of our early grades literacy grant, which includes a consultant that comes to our school every Tuesday to bring professional development, coaching, and modeling of science-based reading instruction to our teachers. We have MCAS growth, specifically in math. In 3rd grade, students went from 11 to 30% meeting or exceeding expectations. And in 4th grade, students went from 9% to 30% meeting or exceeding expectations. We're working with Focus Schools and Carrie Purcell. Specifically, we have 6 teacher leaders who are working with her to develop, their leadership capacity. Attendance has been a bright spot. We're averaging at about 94% each day. There's a co-teaching initiative that continues to take root with professional development and regular consultant visits and feedback to teachers who are collaborating together. We are, our SST and START teams continue to collaborate and meet weekly on ways to support the whole child and implement needed interventions for at-risk students. We continue to build a strong community partnership. As an example, more than 600 people attended our recent Halloween event, and we have a family literacy and math night planned for late November. Opportunities for growth. While MCAS math showed growth, the percent of students meeting and exceeding expectations remains far too low. The same held true with our iReady and DIBELS data, especially concerning was our special ed population and our language learners. Our DESA screener, which is a measure of students' social emotional strengths, it identified 15% of students as at risk, having one or more social emotional learning domains as an area of need. Our student belonging survey, which we conduct with grades 3, 4, and 5, identified that 14% of our students don't yet feel a strong connection to school. So that is something that we are working towards. Our school improvement plan goals are closely tied to the district strategic objectives, and we're focusing on high quality Tier 1 instruction, tiered academic and social emotional supports, professional development, alignment of resources, welcoming and belonging, and positive two-way communication and engagement with families. And this is to positively impact all students. Now, our key activities and strategies we've developed a school-wide instructional focus that all Roadrunners are ready to read and reason. So each part of that school-wide instructional focus is intentional. Obviously, we want all students from all backgrounds and diversities to be ready, which means socially and emotionally available to access the curriculum, with a focus on reading and reasoning to solve complex math problems and to think critically. And our PD is connected to that school-wide instructional focus, focusing on routines for reasoning, the early grades literacy grant, and its evidence-based literacy practices, social emotional learning work to ensure that readiness we mentioned. We have been working in partnership with central office staff for walkthroughs, so directors, coaches in the building, and other central office representatives have been visiting classrooms along with our own administrators, and we are able to provide timely feedback through Google Forms at this time, but now that goals have been set, that feedback will become more formal using the DESE system. We have developed a shared understanding of best practices and look-fors, so teachers kind of know what is best practice and what we hope to see when we visit. We've developed a new WIN block in our schedule, WIN standing for What I Need Now, and that is so that intervention can take place and enrichment can take place, and in a way that students won't miss their Tier 1 instruction, which is the regular instruction from their regular classroom teachers. We have also added a new special called Flex, and that's for direct instruction from guidance personnel partnered with the specialists. So they'll approach social strategies with kids, emotional identification and regulation, and coping skills. We are working to increase teacher and student comfort and understanding of data so that it guides our goal setting and decision making. And this is taking place during PLCs and data chats between teachers and students. Targeted grade level meetings are focused on data, student work, learning walks where teachers can get into other teachers' classrooms, and in the moment professional development. We have a continued partnership with Focus Schools to build the capacity of teachers as leaders, and we're improving access to instructional coaches to improve instruction. Finally, we are celebrating successes within our building. We would like to extend an open invitation for you all to visit at any time and see how our students and staff are all making Rheingold glimmer. Questions?
Yes, Mr. Walsh.
You mentioned it was the third year of your early
Grades literacy grant, yes.
Is there a learning curve for new students coming into school who weren't there for the first 2 years, or does it not a real effect on the new students who are there?
So all students are benefiting from it. It is the third year of providing professional development for the teachers so that as they approach the instruction of reading, they're using science-backed methods and best practices to really impact the learning of our students. So from day one, it's been improving teaching and thereby improving learning in the classroom.
Thank you.
Assistant principal, I didn't hear it. I said you're
Anna
here for
Hill.
Mr. Spark.
Anna Hill.
Anna. Assistant principal, Anna Hill.
Yes.
I love what I'm hearing. You mentioned learning walks, which is helpful for teachers to be able to learn from one another, and not that it's your responsibility. I know you're the assistant principal, but maybe for Mr. Thompson, are the principals doing the same type of thing, meeting together and sharing with one another? Because I heard you said that you have 94% attendance, which is a lot better than than what some of the other principals are experiencing. Maybe so that you can share some of whatever it is you're doing, so that they can all learn, and then they may have other things that they're sharing that you can learn, and everybody gets stronger.
Right.
Again, remember, our students deserve what?
I'm sorry?
Our students deserve what?
The best.
The best. There you go. Thank you.
And that's the average daily attendance. Some days are slightly lower, some days are slightly higher. And we do have opportunities to collaborate during our FADCO meetings monthly. So.
Yep. Jim?
One final thing. For all four presentations, to reiterate what Mr. Hughes said, I appreciate the fact that all of you openly talk about your areas, opportunities for improvement. I think it's good to see where you are and where you want to be. And although you didn't go into great detail, obviously there's things in place to improve of what needs to be improved. And I think all four, too, I'm impressed what you're trying to do, and in some cases what you've accomplished, of including families so that it's families, students, and staff working together, which results in the best result for our students. So I appreciate all 4 presentations and what you're trying to achieve and giving the best for all of our students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A little comment. I wonder if Mrs. Sally Cragen's therapy pets at Rheingold have helped attendance there.
Okay, thank you. So continuing on, we have a school safety update, and Jeremy Roach, Director of Finance and Operations, will give a brief summary of where we're at as we look to improve our practices.
Yeah, thank you. So we have this year a Fitchburg Public Schools Safety Task Force. We started that in the beginning of the year by soliciting volunteers across all the schools. We had the first meeting on October 4th at Memorial Middle School's library, and we had over 40 attendees, which was great. Those included parents, teachers, administrators, school committee representatives, city council members, Fitchburg PD, Fitchburg Fire, and a number of other folks. And it was excellent. We focused on, the main idea of how do we ensure that our schools are as safe as they possibly can be, both physically but also emotionally as well. And so we had a number of activities that we did, including tabletop exercises, but really focused on building and classroom safety measures, security measures, communication, and ultimately building a culture of safety and clarity and transparency in the district. So we actually have another meeting coming up November 16th. That one will be later. Some feedback was to try to meet later on because the first meeting was at 3:30, so this one will be a 5:30 meeting. The 3:30 meeting is usually a donut meeting. The 5:30 meeting is a pizza meeting. So all are welcome in viewing land too. We do virtual as well so that folks can also log in if they're not able to make it. In terms of in the schools, we've had trainings at all the schools. The schools do that through teachers have access to not only the faculty meeting discussions that take place, but Navigate 360. It was great. I received about 150 completion certifications over the last few days from teachers, which was excellent. But students also do trainings. It's developmentally appropriate to their age. So, for example, Fitchburg High would likely do the Waltham training video, which is pretty specific and outlines a school shooter situation that would happen most likely in an advisory. Whereas in elementary school, they use books like Prepared, Not Scared, or other modified versions of that. And then parents and families receive updates from the principals through a week ahead memos or however they do that, but also with PowerPoint decks, slide decks that show, what Alice is, how the schools, would go through various security measures, whether it's lockdown or evacuation. All schools have completed a drill or scenario, with the exception of one that's still in the planning purposes stages, I should say. And then there's been a number of debriefs at every one of the schools because we really want to make sure we collect accurate feedback to those situations so that when we practice, we can improve and move to the next step of, again, ensuring that we have the safest schools that we possibly can. The next steps really are in looking at those debriefs, working on the communication strategies. That was some excellent feedback we received from parents in the committee and also after the Alice drills that we have had. In addition to that, looking at some of the best practices that we've seen at some of the schools. So whether that's a wedge strategy or some kind of barricading technique that schools are using, or looking at other ways that we can harden the buildings, but also, again, increase communication around the best ways that we can ensure that in a situation it's as chaos-free as possible. So that's really working with, again, all of the different partners that we have engaged. And as I said, it was awesome that on October 4th we had more than 40 people participate in that meeting. And And I look forward to a similar type of turnout when we meet again next Wednesday, the 16th at 5:30 at Memorial. And again, those invitations go out through the principal memos, but I do send a blast email to everybody as well, because, you know, we want everybody who wants to be there to have a voice and input into some of these procedures. So that's kind of where we are now, and as we move forward, I'll certainly update the committee. Any questions, please?
What was the time again, Mr. Roach?
We're settling in on 5:30 on November 16th at the Memorial Library. It's a pretty nice location with plenty of parking, and the site itself is really amenable to a large group.
Mr. Roach, may I ask a question? And this is just a little bit on the funny side. Have you thought about improving the menu so that our students can have the best, healthiest food to eat as possible? Remember, you know, the stomach will, you know, help them also to acquire new knowledge.
For sure. And I will say that I think it was Frank that mentioned that our food service director, Dave Semenza, has been meeting with the schools about working on especially culturally reflective offerings at the school sites, and that's actually an ongoing discussion we have been having. I find in those night meetings, Dr. Knight, and I think Ms. Reynolds can speak to this, the pizza works really well to get people to come, though we will have water and maybe some bananas or something like that, so we have a healthy option.
Orange juice will do it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Water and bananas?
Well, you know,
I'm glad you're not setting the menu.
Definitely pizza for sure.
Okay. That's much better.
I know, water and bananas.
Yeah, you got to be responsive to the needs of the community, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
We all set?
So just continuing on, Mr. Roach, do you want to just give a quick summary of the 3 grants to submit and the 3 grants to accept that are on the school committee agenda for action items?
Yep, and we even have a donation too, so I'll bundle that in. So for grants to submit, there are 3. There is the IVAC grant, which is improving ventilation and air quality in public school buildings. The grant award would be $1,246,000, $246,248. And that would be to address inequitable school facilities, needs, and repairs for improved ventilation and indoor air quality to support healthy learning environments in districts and schools with high concentrations of economically disadvantaged students, English language learners, and communities disproportionately impacted by the 2019 novel coronavirus pandemic. In addition, to submit the high-quality instructional materials implementation grant, we will find out about funding because it's contingent upon availability. The submission deadline is November 10th for that. That supports districts in implementing recently purchased Tier 1 core high-quality instructional materials in math, ELA, science, and digital literacy. And then the GLEAM grant, again, funding contingent upon availability. The RFP submission is not yet posted for that, and that will support school systems to implement equity-driven and sustainable improvements in programming across the Commonwealth through a multi-tiered system of support in English, well, for English, language arts, and literacy. And then for grants to accept, a Mass Grad grant for $23,000 provides academic, clinical, and career services provided to individual students and families at Goodrich Academy. The targeted assistance grant for $95,000 supports goals for increasing student achievement at McKay, Longjo, Memorial, and Fitchburg High School. And the evidence-based literacy grant for $71,600, which would promote initiatives to increase evidence-based, inclusive, culturally responsive practices in early literacy through professional learning at Rheingold and McKay. And we did receive 1 donation in the amount of $100 from Mark and Sheila Boudreau, and that would be to support the Bright programming, the Bright program at Fitchburg High School.
Okay, set.
Yep,
I have a
that's
few
it.
questions.
Yes.
I have a few questions on this. What does, we spent $1 million on a new reading program for these early grades. So what do you why are we spending more money on high-quality instructional materials in mathematics, ELA science, and digital literacy? And I would appreciate at some point an update on the effect of the $1 million that we did spend, and do you see, that are seeing these students all the time, do you see that it's worth it? Okay, but that's an aside, but I would appreciate an update on that. So, so I'm asking that question. Shall I ask all my questions at once, or one by one?
That's fine, yeah.
The GLEAM, what is the GLEAM? The GLEAM grant?
GLEAM is a acronym for evidence, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's around, again, initiation, implementing high-quality, effective literacy curriculum. So the GLEAM grant can do a number of things. It can support purchasing a program in addition to professional development. We'll be applying for the GLEAM grant to provide continuous professional development on the implementation of our new $1 million program, Rosemary, in addition to which was spoken to tonight around the science of reading, a better way of instructing students on how to read than previously used in the district.
I am. Well, I'm going to be opposing that one, but, and then I had, what is evidence-based literacy?
Evidence-based literacy. So evidence-based literacy is how we teach students how to read. So, for example, phonics instruction.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Phonics instruction, the sounds of letters.
Yeah, oh yeah, phonics.
Yeah, phonics,
okay.
yep.
But I didn't, but when we spent $1 million, that was like huge, and I expected, why do we keep needing to add more and more and more? Why,
Well, this isn't for curriculum, this is for professional development, for us to...
professional development.
For us to pay to train, continue to train our teachers.
Okay, thank you.
And we're also adding new teachers every year.
Right.
Who require the training, who may have not have had the training in the past.
I thought this was for materials that were going to be given directly, presented to the children. No, but you're saying they're going to be presented directly to teachers.
Yes. Yep.
And I would just add, too, these grants are in addition to the city budget and oftentimes are made available to every district in the state, and sometimes, in some cases, some districts in the state, like the Targeted Assistance Grant. I can say that just like we've heard from a number of the presentations about the Crocker Elementary School, similarly to that, increase in costs to everything has been across the board, whether it's curriculum materials or construction materials. So again, I think for us to pursue these grants simply means it supplements the existing grant, the existing budget that we have for the city, with additional funds to be able to try to do the best we can for the schools and the students.
Thank you.
I do have one question. I think I heard you mention that one of the grants had funds towards assisting the students, right? You talk about the teachers and also for the students. Now, is any of this money going to be used, or can it be used for tutoring sessions for students at Fitchburg High School that are part of the Honors Academy that needs additional support to be successful and successfully complete their classes?
These particular grants, I'm not sure. I'd have to find out and get back to you. We have had funds available in the past for that type of thing.
Okay.
So I'm glad to find out a little bit more and report back.
Yeah, so right now we do have funds available through the ESSER, Dr. Knight. So each school in Fitchburg was given a first allotment of $10,000 to actually start those tutoring sessions.
Okay.
So actually, I met with Dr. Tanya Jarrett today, principal at Fitchburg High School, and we actually planned out what the tutoring sessions would look like and what students she'd begin focusing on for the first session. So she's going to be pushing information out Hopefully after Thanksgiving break, she's going to be looking for faculty at Fitchburg High School to actually offer these tutoring sessions in the afternoon after school.
Okay, and we need these to be done as quickly as possible because there are students in this academy that need the additional assistance, and we would like to see them successful.
Right, yeah, agreed.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have a couple policy items. As Mr. Horgan mentioned earlier, the homeless student policy, McKinney-Vento Homeless Education Assistance Grant. Tonight's the first reading, and the educational opportunities for children in foster care is also the first reading. Mrs. Kelly has patiently stayed here tonight if anybody has any questions. Otherwise, we can go to the action items.
Let's proceed. We'll take the first action item, which is the superintendent's recommendation to submit the following grants. I understand that one member will be voting in opposition. Improving ventilation, air quality, high-quality instructional materials, and GLEAM.
They should make a motion to accept 2206.
Second.
Excuse me, could we
Yes, you want
separate them?
to
because-
take each individual?
Yeah, because I certainly am going to vote for the.
Let's take them individually.
That I'm hesitant on, yeah.
Improving ventilation and air quality in public school buildings.
Make a motion to accept.
Motion made and seconded to accept.
Submit.
To submit. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It is unanimous. High-quality instructional materials implementation grant funding contingent upon availability.
Make a motion to submit.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to submit. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It is unanimous. Last, GLEAM, funding contingent upon availability.
Motion to submit.
Motion made
Second.
and seconded to submit. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Two in opposition. Thank you.
I didn't see, who opposed? I didn't see that.
Dr. Knight and Ms. Reynolds.
Can I ask a clarifying question, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Is there any contingencies on this grant that there's some kind of a cost that we take after we get these resources?
No.
Is there any contingencies that would incur any kind of a cost on this district in the future? I mean, this is a straight-up grant,
This
to
is just
the
a grant
general
the other way.
understanding.
Yep.
Okay. So when we talk about advocating for the best for our students and the best for Fitchburg, I just like to really recount that, you know, this is essentially free money and free resources for the district. And I think the only reason that these two members are voting no on this motion is from a lack of preparedness for this meeting, from a lack of understanding of how this grant works, of how grants work. And I just find that to be, I don't know, kind of upsetting, to be honest, that just, you know, we're voting no against free money just from a lack of understanding and a lack of preparedness for this meeting. And I don't find that acceptable.
May I change my vote? Thank you for that clarification.
You want to change your vote?
Yes, sir.
So you're in favor?
In favor, yes. I did not
Thank you.
understand something before. Yes, thank you.
Right. Moving on. 22-207, approve the superintendent's recommendation to accept the following grants titled Mass Grad, $23,000. We'll take these individually as well.
Make a motion to accept.
Motion made.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to accept Mass Grad. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It is unanimous. Targeted Assistance Grant, $95,000.
Motion to accept.
Motion made and seconded to accept. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It is unanimous. And finally, Evidence-Based Literacy, $71,600.
Motion to accept.
Motion
Second.
made and seconded to accept. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It is unanimous. Thank you. Moving to 22-208, approve the donation of $100 to be used in the
Motion to
principal's.
accept the $100.
Motion made,
Second.
seconded to accept the $100. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, is unanimous. 22-209, approve the superintendent's recommendation to accept the first reading of the revised policy 5117, homeless student policy, McKinney-Vento Homeless Education Assistance Act.
Approve.
Motion made
Second.
and seconded to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, is unanimous. 22-210, Approve the superintendent's recommendation to accept first reading, policy 5119, education. Motion made.
Second.
And seconded to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous. That completes the action items. Executive session. We'll have a vote on entering executive session only to return to adjourn. Do I hear a motion?
We need roll call.
Make a motion to
Right. Motion made.
move into
To
executive
go into
session.
executive session.
Seconded.
Now the roll call.
Thank you. Mayor Di Natale,
Yes.
Mr. Stevens,
Yes.
Mr. Walsh,
Yes.
Mr. Horgan,
Yes. Yes.
Mrs. Reynolds.
I'm just wondering, it said executive session, not at this time, in the papers that I received, so is this something new that we have to go
This
through?
is, yes, I emailed the school committee a couple hours before something has come up that we need to go
Okay,
into executive
all right,
session
yes.
for contract negotiations.
Mrs. Reynolds,
Yes.
thank you. Dr. Knight,
Sure.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
thank you. Unanimous.
All right.
Thanks, Eva.
Hey,
Thanks, Eva.
okay.
See you.